photography is so important to promote the event, amplify the messages, and ultimately justify the budget spent on it. If you can then show this is how it went, and the boss goes, oh wow, that looks good, yes, we'll do that again. It's tough to do that without great photography.
Welcome back to One Amazing Experience, where we go behind the scenes at unique and memorable events to see what goes into creating them. I'm joined today by Graham Hill, who is from the Event Photography Awards. Event Photography Awards has been running now for a decade and celebrates the images and photographers that capture the magic of our industry. So really excited to dig into how people in our industry can get involved. Graham, thank you so much for joining us.
Very welcome. Delighted to be here, and well done off for work for setting up the Event Photography Awards.
It's a highlight of our year and of many of our clients as well, who either come along to the award ceremony or they enter photography, which sort of features their venues and their events. So lots of ways that people can get involved. Sure. For those that don't know about the Event Photography Awards, could you tell us a little bit about the competition?
Well, as you say, it's been going 10 years. We're just entering into competition 11, and it's there to promote photography. When I in my past career, I was head of venues and events at Square Meals. I was effectively a publisher and exhibition organizer. I was bemoaning to Philip Atkins, CEO of Off to Work, the paucity of good photography that we get coming in with press releases. People asking for coverage, but a picture paints 1,000 words, and Philip being, well, would it be an idea if there was an awards event to promote great photography? And I said, yeah, that's a great idea, but thought nothing of it because there's lots of awards in the industry. And then about 6 weeks later, I met him at an industry association event, and he said, "Would you? I'm going to launch the Event Photography Awards. Will you be the media sponsor?" So I could hardly say no, but I was delighted to say yes, because Square Meal we spent a lot of money on photography. So we delighted to promote it and give it lots of pages in our magazine. Mm-hmm. And just typical Philip, just an ideas guy that gets things going. And I'm delighted he did. And so when I moved on from Square Meal, he gave me a call and said, do you want to come on board and help with the awards? And I was delighted to. And I think I've done 6 now, 7. The awards, when we were talking about the paucity of photography, I think and I was guilty of it as well for certain events, reader events and things we would do. Oh yes, we need to organise a photographer. oh yeah, and it would be the last thing you remember to do, or think to do even, and it should be so much higher up.
Yeah.
The P&L for an event, not least now with social media, because photography is so important to promote the event, amplify the messages, record the success, and ultimately actually justify the budget spent on it. Mm. Mm. Because if you can then show this is how it went, and the boss goes, oh wow, that looks good, yes, we'll do that again, to take it down to a very sort of simple level. It's tough to do that without great photography. And capturing spectacle, capturing engagement, people meeting and enjoying an event. It's so important. Mm. I must say, I do think photography is much further up the P&L than it was when it started. And so now it's a celebration. Yeah, the awards are a celebration of great photography, which is fantastic.
I was speaking to one of our previous guests who was talking about defining event vision. She was saying often you have to get that vision really at the start and then allow that to impact all of the other decisions that you make in terms of suppliers. So I think it plays into photography. If you know clearly the impact that you want your event to have, how you want your guests to feel, finding a photographer that can capture the event on the night in the style and the manner that you want is really important. But equally as well, how you promote that event. You need photography that aligns with that vision.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. But think about it from this perspective. If you create a photography brief, this is what I want at the end of the event, that is your vision.
Yeah.
In every element and aspect. And having remembered to book a photographer, the next job is to give them a really good brief. Otherwise, you might not get what you want. So if you have a perfect photography brief, that's your vision, and you work towards it.
Yeah. I guess leading on from this point, the answer is probably it depends. But are there aspects that are repeated across the photos that you've seen winning in the various categories and also the overall award? Is there repeated elements that go into a great event photo, or does it depend on the context, the event, the audience, the guests?
Well, that's a good question. There are 15 core categories, 17 if you include 3 music event ones now, and they require different skills. So if you take it from venues, that's an empty room, and it's all about lighting and angles and getting the space in and making an empty space look good. Over to red carpet stuff with A-listers and weddings, the pressure on wedding photographers to not muck it up it is enormous. But I know what you mean. That I think if there's one thing that does come up, and certainly what I look for is engagement. Because events involve people meeting and people engaging, people listening, hearing, experiencing. And so if you can capture the moments so with the photography awards, which we have a photographer for, or 2 even, and actually we give, just as a side thought, we give a charity that gets people into the creative industries through photography, called the Photography Foundation. An opportunity for their students to photograph the event, but with the backup of professionals behind it. What I want to see is people looking at the photos and engaging with them and looking at and doing. It's a moment in time you can capture. I wanted that when I was an exhibition organizer. I don't want people looking at the phones, walking down an aisle. I want people talking to exhibitors and looking at things. And that's across the board. So engagement, I think, is the key. So we say with a brand activation shot, it's all about. See, I've got off to work over your left shoulder there. So it's all about having the logo in shot, but appropriately and not too obtrusively. It's absolutely core.
Yeah.
But then if you have people, we do brand activation and experiential events. It's actually, I think, Philip's favourite category. And then that experience of people going to something and being engaged, experiencing it, to capture that action, often facially, is key.
It's the magic moments. I started out many years ago doing brand ambassador. If there was a brand doing a pop-up, I was one of the people going in various branded uniforms, costumes.
Sure.
And there is that you are creating moments extraordinary, if you take the literal meaning of the word, outside of the ordinary moments, and seeing people's reactions when they first encounter whatever touch point it is that you're putting together. That's what you want to be capturing. Lots of opportunities for people in the industry to get involved, as I mentioned in the intro. So there's sponsorship, there's judging, there's attending the awards presentation, and of course, obviously, entering. And there's the amateurs category as well, which I think is a really good initiative, a way of opening up the space to people who are wanting to break into the industry. Could you dive into a little bit, for example, the judging opportunities and ways that people can support the awards?
Well, if we do it in order, entering is key. Yes, we have amateurs, and so anyone can enter. Amateurs are judged alongside professionals. So you do get good amateurs who do very well, but then we will take them out and have separate amateur awards. But it doesn't have to be a photographer. What we're trying to encourage, and we had a few last year, which was great, is event professionals and their companies and organizations entering photos. So be it of their venue, be it of events at their venue, be it of an event they've been involved with, if they're a supplier, they can enter them directly. They can also enter photos on behalf of a photographer that they've commissioned for an event. So, or even insist or fund. It's only 25 quid for 5 photos. Um, the photographer saying, no, if you do this, I want that photo to be entered. And just that's something. But generally, from photographers are now, we have a good database of photographers of regularly come and enter every year, and it is a big highlight of their career. And the awards are incredibly well respected. And I won't. You'll have to talk for photographers, but I've had a welter of very, very nice quotes over the year, certainly in recent years, saying that we're better than this awards or that awards, etc. Which we think, but that's a proper photography awards. We really are, a proper photography awards. On top of that, in the sphere of the industry, we're the only awards that covers the whole industry. We're not in a particular sector. We're not media driven. We are the whole industry, putting it in a good light. And as a consequence, we actually cut through not just to the trade press, who are all very supportive
Yeah.
And cover us, but also the national press. So big feature in the Times last year. And over the years, lots in national newspapers, because we're and that's great. It promotes events, which is, and one of the core ideas of the awards. Again, well done, Philip. It was a good idea, but entering is key. So the more you enter, the better photography
Yeah.
the awards will be. The better, if you want the industry to be promoted, we're the route to do it, and simply through photos. It's not tough. Judging, anyone can judge at the moment. To celebrate the 10th anniversary, we're doing the best ever event photography awards. It's a public online vote. We have had hundreds. We're well into four figures, in fact, of votes come in, but there's still time this week. I don't know when this is going out, but up until the mid-January, we'll be doing the overall judging. So through the website, and see it in social media, and going out through the trade press. So anyone can vote, join in, great fun. And in terms of our judging panel, we have a lot of people. We had about 60 last year, because we invite a lot of industry leaders, a lot of the industry press. The idea is that the people who would commission an event photographer are the people who do the judging, and they'll know what they want, going back to that photography brief that we were talking about. So they know what they're looking for. They'll know what they'll sell their event for next year, be it a festival, an exhibition, a conference. And so they are the best judges. Now, if you'd like to judge, you can ask, and it's always nice to know that people are keen. What generally happens is people who ask become supporters, and there is a small fee for that, but that's all to the good. And they're the awards, I should highlight again, they are not for profit. And so all support is much appreciated, and certainly all our sponsors have an opportunity to judge. Sponsors get up to 3 judges on the panel, and obviously a way to get involved is to sponsor the awards. It's great fun. It's not expensive, particularly for the goodwill and exposure you get, and the association that you get, national press, let alone trade. Moreover, it's fun. Everyone really enjoys it. The networking's good as well, I am told. People do pick up business through, because when we do the judging, we do it in groups. You can do it online, but people meet up, do groups, and it creates relationships. As does attending the awards event. It's a great event. £90 a ticket if you have to pay. Much more fun to be a supporter or a sponsor and get a load of free tickets, or tickets in your package. And there's another awards event coming up. We're doing the best ever awards at 8.5 London, which will be the relaunching event for what was Skinner's Hall, which is being relaunched after something like a £35 million refurb. Utterly amazing. Had a show around last week, and I was jaw dropping at how well the investment had been spent and how exciting it will be. So that's coming up at the end of January. So it's all happening on that front. But basically, to get involved, enter and give me a call if you want to be a judge.
Amazing. Lots of opportunities to get involved there. And as you say, it's about celebrating and promoting the positive benefits of the industry as well. You mentioned the award ceremonies for both the best ever and the 2025 edition. Putting on an event for a lot where the main clientele are event professionals, that must add an extra level of pressure, I would imagine. What's your approach? What's been your biggest learning from the years you've done?
Yes, gosh, yes. There is considerable pressure. I suppose I'm half used to it because I used to was an exhibition director at Venues and Events Live, so it's an industry event, and people are very, very happy to tell you where you're going wrong, which is great. That's where you get your learnings. And I'm going, yeah, I'll listen to people who know. I'm a publisher. I'm not an event organizer by trade. So yeah, I'm all ears. But I think because it is not for profit, people, industry people, are very understanding. Moreover, the the job is made easy because the content is so good. If we print every single shortlisted photo, beautifully printed by Visions and Set Up, who are a production partner, and they make the place look great. They make me look good, which is what a production company should do. And of course, everybody wants to come in and just look at all these wonderful photos and enjoy it. When we then move down into the auditorium, I just get my excuses in early, Joel, and say that if any of you, because it's an event industry event, we're expecting something really slick, you've come to the awards. This is off the cuff, and here we go. But again, we have the presentation is well set up. It's got all the photos, and people are looking at that. But yes, there is a bit of pressure, but luckily, I have a lot of very brilliant, supportive sponsors and event partners who are also there to look good, and therefore that makes me and hopefully off to work look good as well.
I think it's a good lesson in expectation management and sort of how you prepare guests for an event pre-event. As you say, I think it is a true collaboration. You've got so many different stakeholders, sponsors, other organisations that support the awards in other ways as well, that all come together, as you say, for a good cause and to sort of celebrate the industry. Leading on from the logistics, what's been your favourite moment from running the competition over the past couple of years?
Last couple of years, well, I do have one, but you're gonna have to let me peel a few off first. So the weather forecast, seeing that as good weather when there's a terrace to use at Number 4 Hamilton Place or at Reba, it's been good every year so far. Long may that continue. Last year there was a nice queue outside coming in, and efficiently it whittled away very nicely. But just for a while there was a bit of a queue, and that was quite nice. Let alone the fact that we held our first workshop. One of our sponsors, Neuropix, is an AI system for event photographers for editing photos, particularly wedding photographers, did a workshop. And I said, oh, maybe we'll get a dozen in there. And we just used the cafe at Reba. It was rammed. And that was enormously pleasing. And there was one, you may not know, but we had to take a hiatus during COVID because there were no photos taken at events. And then the year we came back, we whipped off an EPAs quite quickly. To sort of catch up. And a guy called Carlos Alvar, he won the music events category and was actually runner-up overall. He flew over from Mexico to pick up. I said to him, it will be worth the trip. And that was, you get a buzz from that when they come that far. And we do get a lot of people coming from abroad, Holland, Germany last year had 2 winners, Poland. But that was a trip, particularly after COVID. However, in answer to your question, last year we had our first tears on stage. So lovely lass, Emily Appleton, who hadn't been professional for very long, had just been working locally around Devon, took a cracking shot at a wedding show in Exeter and entered it into the trade shows category and won.
Amazing.
And came up on stage and there were tears.
I was going to say, hopefully, tears of joy. It wasn't one of the
Oh no,
one of the runners
absolutely.
up.
No, very much, very much.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, lots of, apart from the awards presentation itself and the work that's being done around the awards and with sponsors' assistance as well to build the community. And you're talking about workshops on AI, a big hot topic in event photography and photography at large, I guess. So it's really good to see initiatives and workshops being put in place to sort of build that community, especially for those working in the same roles across the industry.
I was going to say, it was such a trend. Obviously, in the industry, as I actually ran an event on AI about 6 or 7 years ago with the Barbican, and when it was still bubbling but coming, and now it's very much here. And must be embraced, but so much of it is to the good, and particularly in the photo area. So I mentioned Europix; they're very much for photographers themselves, but for organisers and also for making better use of the photography that you get from your event photographer that you've hired and given a brief. You take lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of photos. And there are so many. There are now various platforms and software and technology coming that is AI driven, that enables you to curate that photography, deliver that photography. Facial recognition is coming in as well, so it can be sent, or you can search for your photos that much more easily because it's logged. Companies. I've just been to the Event Tech Live, which is an exhibition, and things like Photo Go To, Pre-Magic, Campfire. These systems will actually add to the power of the event photographer if they're using it, and or the agency or the organizers, to then make that event that much more valuable for the end client, and for the audience. It's really quite exciting, and very much it's going to push photography further up that P&L even more.
I think the conversations are just being started in earnest after the initial maybe panic in some cases about roles and jobs being replaced. People are now starting to think about the practicalities, and we have to have these conversations. I think what better scenario to have those conversations than with a nice glass of something and a canapé and with industry peers at an awards ceremony. Wrapping up, so we're coming up close to time. Going into 2025, have you got any emerging trends that you're noticing? Any sort of wildcard predictions for what we're going to see in events going into next year?
Well, I think work from home is here to stay, certainly for the foreseeable. So I think internal events are going to become more prevalent. They need to be purposeful and engaging, and just it's almost breaking down the barrier that people read. It's good to talk, and you don't have to just do that over Zoom. I think and the various platforms you can do that on, which are marvelous. Nothing like face to face. And sitting in so I think internal events will be becoming more prevalent.
Love it. And we ask every guest that comes on the newsletter podcast, we ask every guest the same question at the end. What would be your one amazing experience? So this could be something you have experienced at an event as a guest, or something from behind the scenes, or it could be that bucket list idea, a venue you've always wanted to work at, a supplier you want to work with.
Well, I'll give the Off to Work One Amazing Experience podcast a plug. It was a while ago now, but I was interviewed by Philip. And so if people want to know, for someone who worked for a restaurant guy for over 20 years, and has been lucky enough to enjoy a fair amount of hospitality and eating some fantastic restaurants corporately over the years. I've been a lucky chap in that regard. So it'd be difficult to pick something singular now, but that enabled me the opportunity to imagine what I would like to do if money was no object. So listen to that and many of the others. You will nick ideas. There's no question. So that's a plug for One Amazing Experience podcast. So I'll give you an experience then, non-corporate, personal, and it's that I always think back to with a big smile and thinking how many people have done that. First night of my honeymoon, as well. Importantly, my wife was born in Zambia, so I took her to Zambia for the first night of our honeymoon. We were upriver from Victoria Falls on this wonderful lodge come hotel place, and we arrived, and you do your you had sundowner drinks, and then you all eat together around a big long table, with this chap at the end jollying things along. And I chatted to him about, we talked about games and what I like, and I love croquet as well. And he had a little word with one of the butlers, and I could see some stuff going on, and this was dead into the night. And then a little bit later, outside, he said, "I've set something up, Graham." And from about around midnight and so, and into the early hours, I played croquet by candlelight, the candles next to the hoops, with January, my personal butler, carrying my white port between hoops on a silver salver next to the Zambezi River in the middle of the night. It was the candles by the hoops that was the thing. It was wonderful.
It's those little moments of going, first of all, of listening to the guest and really listening, not that sort of performative. It's really listening to what they're telling you and then thinking, okay, what resources do I have to make this unique and special for them? Amazing.
Yeah, he nailed it.
So, Graham, where can people find out more about the awards and if they want to get involved?
So obviously we have a website, eventphotography.awards.com. We're very active on Instagram, so do follow us, and also LinkedIn, which are our main sources on socials, and we tick over on that. Have a look, enjoy, have a look at, go onto the website. We've got all the past award-winning photos there on, let alone all the information you'll need about sponsoring, and my contacts are there as well. Do get in touch. Would love to chat.
Fantastic.
It's good to talk, isn't it?
It is good to talk. It is lovely to talk. I wish we could carry more, but we are at time. So with that in mind, Graham, thank you for sharing your One Amazing Experience, and hopefully thank you for those that have listened, and we hope to see you at the award ceremony next year. Thanks so much.
Indeed, brilliant. Joel, thanks a lot.